Always wear safety glasses when working in the shop.
The safety glasses are over here by the sink in the white cabinet here. Make sure that you are grabbing a pair anytime you're working with tools or working near somebody who has the tools. If you are wearing glasses like I do, they should still fit over the top. And if you require a different pair, come see one of us and we will get you a pair that might fit better over your glasses. Or if you've got a smaller head and these feel too big, we can get you a pair that are a little bit smaller.
Wearing safety glasses means that when you are working, they are on your face. Safety glasses should not be on the top of your head while you are working. They do not do much good up there. And if you take your safety glasses off, you do not set them down on the lens. You always set your safety glasses down when you're not working on the upper frame or the blue portion, which is exactly where we place them when we set them back in the safety glasses cabinet. At the end of the day, all the safety glasses need to be placed back exactly where they belong, sitting correctly, or we will not get to be dismissed yet.
Report all accidents, injuries, and broken equipment to the instructor immediately.
Any accident we need to know about. When you tell us about an accident, we have first aid kit and safety materials and health materials up here in Poulos' aid kit. This includes gauze, bandages, disinfectants, cotton swabs, everything we need to make sure that you are safe if there is an accident or injury to occur in the shop.
We've both been trained in first aid, and so we are going to do our absolute best to keep you safe and to minimize any complications that may happen. Wait for the tool to stop completely before you leave.
We have many different pieces of equipment in here that continue to run after you've shut them off. Examples would be the scroll saw, the bandsaw, the disc sanders, the drill presses, and the lathes. It's very important that you don't leave the machine until the machine has stopped moving, because it could be off and it still could be moving. Okay? So that's really important. Any piece of equipment you're using, do not leave it, and do not take your safety glasses off until the machine has come to a complete stop, and then you may leave. Start the machine before you push the wood into the blade.
When you get ready to use the scroll saw and you have a board that you're getting ready to cut, we want to line up your cut with the way that it's going to be when the blade hits it to start cutting that block. What we don't want is that blade to be in contact with the board prior to turning it on. Once you get ready to cut and you're lined up with that board just a little bit away from the blade, you can then turn on the saw and begin your cuts. Keep hands and fingers 3 inches away from the blade when the saw is running.
This is just like with the bandsaw. Thank you.
You're welcome.
At all times, you need to keep your hands 3 inches away on both sides from the scroll saw blade. This can be a bit more challenging with a scroll saw because we're often putting the scroll saw into holes that we bore into the wood. That's one of the many things that it's great for. And so you may be doing very intricate cuts, but just remember that you actually have better control and rotational movement from the outside of the wood. So make sure that when you do that at all times you just keep those 3 inches away on each side. Do not interrupt other people while they are using the equipment.
When people are using the tools, it could be the hand tools or one of the stationary tools like the bandsaw or the drill press or something like that. We want to make sure that you're not interrupting them. We want them to be able to concentrate on what they're working on. And if you're interrupting, it makes it very, very hard for somebody else to focus on the project that they're working on and use the tools safely. Work at a safe speed and concentrate on what you're working on.
This rule ties in with a lot of different rules we have in the shop. But the idea is that you are focusing and concentrating on the work before you and that you're doing it at a safe and appropriate speed for the tool and the task at hand. This allows you to be efficient and safe within the shop for you and your peers.
Unplug the saw when you change the blade.
Because the scroll saw is excellent at intricate cuts, we often have to adjust the blade size for the cut in the project that we are working on. So before you do this, it is always important that you reach over and you unplug the scroll saw so that at no point while you're changing the blade are you in harm's way.
Check the blade to make sure that the teeth are facing downward.
The scroll saw is a machine that it cuts on the downward movement of the saw, which means that the teeth need to be facing down. If the teeth are facing up, it's not going to cut properly and you could damage the machine. So make sure to look that the blade was installed correctly. Do not back out of a cut when the saw is turned on.
When you're making cuts at the scroll saw, we want to make sure that you're doing a good job getting it cut, but when you have to back out of a cut, when you have to change the blades or the settings, what you're doing, we want to make sure that the saw is completely turned off and then start removing your project from that area of the blade.
If the blade breaks, turn off the saw and tell the instructor.
If when you're working on the scroll saw, you have a problem and the blade breaks or it becomes unusable because it is bent, come get one of us and we'll make sure to get that blade replaced for you right away so that you can continue working on your project.
Cut only materials that lay flat on the table of the saw.
While cutting here at the scroll saw, we want to make sure that anything that we're cutting is supported and completely flat against the table. That way we have good control of it and that project isn't going to vibrate and move around on us. You never want to cut round material on the scroll saw because it can get caught in the blade and actually rotate into the blade, which is going to more than likely cause that blade to break. So we want to make sure that everything that you're cutting lays flat and is supported neatly on that table when you're cutting.